I know, those aren't real sturdy. I'm getting ready to get down if I need to.
Jeffrey, stand up.
Well, if I stand up, I'm going to be down there.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Are we ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay, it's a hot day, so we want to get started. First, I want to welcome you to the, I got to get it right now, the Ebenezer African American Methodist Church, Cemetery and Church. We're going to have just a couple of people to speak at the beginning, and then feel free to circulate around and ask questions and do whatever. I wanted to cover safety first. The first piece is the building is not very stable. It's one of our projects and our ambitions to work on that stability. But that means that it's safer if you don't go inside of the line here, because we don't want a stone to fall on anybody. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And of course, this is a joint effort between the church and the township
right now.
to do this. And we've had a lot of different participants over the years who've done it, whatever. And we think that this sign is a very important progress in that effort. What I wanted to do for just a second is try and give you a little bit of historical context. And in particular, what I want to do is transport you back. So I want you to use your imagination here a little. 190 years ago is where I'm taking you back to. So in the early 1830s, a few African Americans went to see the local Quaker, who was James Malin, and asked for a piece of property. We still have that original deed. And they paid $1, a token dollar to him, and he granted them this piece of land. This was a wooded hill. Most of Great Valley was farms and open land, so this was land that they were probably not going to farm, and it was just completely covered with forest at that time. So this community established itself here and built this church themselves, and built small wooden houses and other things, and started little small subsistence farms, and worked in the kilns, in forestry and other things to contribute, both to earn a living and contribute to the local area. So it was the beginning of that African American community here, and it was a bit of a haven, so it was a nice little haven. But they were in a storm, and we have to remember that storm. At that time, where we are here is 40 miles from the Mason-Dixon line. So Pennsylvania, most of the slave activity had stopped, but in Maryland it was still going strong. So they were that close to the frontier. In addition to that, we had bounty hunters who would come and take people. And even if they had paperwork and others, that wasn't no assurance of that. So these people were at risk. That's part of the reason to be in this more isolated area that was there. In addition, if you'll think about it, later on in 1863, there was one of the largest armies ever created in the United States. It was a Confederate army of 75,000 soldiers, 100 miles from here. And they were ravaging the countryside and not taking care of African Americans, I guarantee it. And so they were obviously afraid for that. But these people were resilient. These people were creating a community. And in fact, we have two of soldiers from the Union Army who are African American buried in this cemetery. So they persisted and survived. For us, it can be an inspiration, if I can say that. So what we are here to do, fast forward to today, is we're here to celebrate those people, to remember those people who did that, and also to help restore and bring back to life this site as much as we can. Okay? So what I was going to have them do now is I was going to have Scott and Reverend, maybe you, Scott, I would like to have each of you grab a corner of this and go ahead and unveil our new marker.
Tug gingerly, it might get caught up. If you need help, let me know.
Ready? Go ahead. 1, 2, 3.
There it goes.
Doesn't that look nice?
Yeah.
This is beautiful. This is donated by Nick's mother, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, the cover, yes.
Let's put our hands together for Nick's mother.
Yay.
Mary Alice.
Mary Alice.
So with that, Scott, we're gonna pass the baton to you.
Okay.
And let you say a few words.
Just a few?
We'll see. How you doing, Carla?
Thanks, Jeff. And good afternoon. I'm Scott Lambert. I'm the board chairman of the supervisors and also the board liaison to the Historical Commission, and I'm honored to be here as part of this dedication. Historic preservation is a conversation with our past and about our future. It provides us with opportunities to ask who, what, where, and when. What was this area originally called when it was first settled? Bacton. Who was the soldier? Hiram Woodall, who was a prominent resident, Civil War soldier, who was one of 60 people buried here behind me. When was the Ebenezer African
He was also a
Methodist
freed slave and a
Episcopal Church
teamster.
built? 1832. Through preservation, we look at history in different ways, ask different questions of the past, and learn new things about our history and ourselves. Historic preservation is an important way for us to transmit our understanding of the past to future generations. It can tell us broad-based stories that we can ignore or embrace. I'm proud that we in East Whiteland Township are embracing preservation and raising awareness and celebrating a rich history, and today's historic marker for the AME Church and Cemetery will help tell the story for future generations. Since my time on the board 6 years ago, I've seen a robust commitment by our historical commission volunteers, my supervisor, fellow supervisors, and a number of knowledgeable, local, caring residents that have helped spearhead the preservation efforts. As a local government entity, East Whiteland's historic resource protection ordinances are intended to protect the resources of the town and encourage their retention, discourage demolition and insensitive alteration, and facilitate adaptive reuse. The Gunkel Mill, Church Farmhouse, or Church Road Farmhouse, Flat Road Cemetery, Linden Hall are some of the recent successes.
Mockairy.
While years of neglect greatly limited our ability to preserve the AME Church in full, we utilized engineers and architects to save as much of the structure as possible.
Thank you, everybody.
We, the township, are committed to stabilizing existing walls and to preserve and document the grave markers. And again, I thank you, and I'm always available to discuss any ideas or comments you might have that can help out this area.
You're no fun to talk to. Come on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
I think my name is Pastor April Martin, and I'm pastor of Mount Zion AME Church in Devon. And I have been given the opportunity to oversee the workings and the upbuilding and the care of Ebenezer AME Church here at Bacton Hill. But before I speak a little, let's read the marker, shall we? Ebenezer African Methodist Episcopal Church. This AME church grew out of the Free African Society movement established in 1787 in Philadelphia. James Malin, a local Quaker, transferred the land to the church trustees in 1832. The African American community who built this structure lived, worked,
I got you. Got you, everybody.
and raised their families on Bacton Hill. Over 80 grave sites include blacks who enlisted and fought for the Union in the Civil War following the Emancipation Proclamation, given East Whiteland Historical Commission. Let's give them a hand here. Just to give you a little background about the AME Church, originally started in Philadelphia. Our founder, Richard Allen, walked this land from Delaware. He walked up in Lancaster, Reading, here, Ardmore, Devon, and started local churches. We have church over 40,000 countries and 7 continents. The AME Church has churches, the latest being in India and Brazil. So we are a rich heritage. Unfortunately, over time, I think that this site got away from the church, and many people had forgotten about it.
Shiloh, too.
So I want to take a few minutes to say thank you. Thank you to Carla, who really brought it to my attention via her articles. Amen. Thank you so much to Tia, who had did extensive research on it. And these grounds really come on, give Tia a hand. And these grounds really pull out of the Church of St. Paul Malvern. Amen. So many people are related to members who had died here from St. Paul Malvern. But thank you to the East Whiteland Historic Society. Thank you to the township commissioners and supervisors. Thank you for helping us to realize and understand that this is precious. This tells the story of a people and a community, and we don't want to let that die. Nope. And what's so inspiring to me is if you would look at yourselves and see the diversity of those who are standing here today. This tells us what we strive to be, a community of diversity. And the AME Church was founded out of that very idea. Amen. Thank you so much. Now, we have just gotten a website. I want to thank Sister Bertha Jackman. Where's Sister Bertha?
Right
Sister
there.
Bertha Jackman, who brought this to me and said, Reverend, we've got to get involved. I want to thank my elder who gave me permission to get involved. And I'm going to thank our new bishop, Julius McAllister, who gave me the go-ahead and gave me a little bit of funds to be able to get started on this property. I want to thank Mr. Buechner, who kept this grass cut for us for years without charging us a dime. Thank you to the Boy Scouts who use this land as projects to beautify it. And so many people and community members who have come together to help this land be sustained, this church be sustained. I thank you. So now we look forward. What does it look like going forward? Well, it looks like restoring the floor inside of there. It looks like capping the walls and the bricks so that nothing else falls. It looks like putting a new fence around the perimeter and getting rid of some of the stumps. It looks like us putting a park bench and erecting a flag here in this beautiful landscape. It looks like we're moving forward, y'all. Sure. So we have started a website. The website, now you gotta listen to it because it really it's long, but it makes sense. Historic Ebenezer Bacton Hill. Historic Ebenezer Bacton Hill.org. That is our website. Amen. I ask you to go. There's some tweaks and some corrections I see need to be done already. But we want to mark the occasions. We want to give out news. We want to give out history about what's going on with this site. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. On it is a cost analysis of what it's going to take to do everything that's needed. And I want to thank Nick, amen, who did the research, got in touch with various contractors, and we've got it all cost out. And just like we stand here today as a community to celebrate, we're going to need to stand together to see that dream become a reality. So I encourage you to give. I encourage you to ask other people to give. I encourage you to contact me on the email, which is, you ready? It's long, but it makes sense. Historic Ebenezer Bacton Hill @gmail.com. So please send us your ideals. so that we can, you know, maybe somebody wants to hold a football party, all you can eat chicken wings and we charge tickets. All kinds of ideals that we can do together as a community, inviting others in who love history to try to raise the funds we need to make this a reality. And I have a question.
Yeah, are you going to have a standalone 501c3 nonprofit for it, or are we going to run it through your church?
Right now,
People are going to ask for donations, so.
Okay, so right now I set up an account
Okay.
for Ebenezer. Ebenezer Bacton Hill has its own account, and the money from the donate button goes right into that account. Would I want a 501c3? Absolutely. Am I looking for somebody who can write it? Yes. Yes, we are. So please, things like that. You may not have $5,000, but you know how to do that. Okay, so I'm asking, you know, let's make this a community effort. And I just thank you all from the bottom of my heart, each and every one, for keeping this dream of restoration and preservation alive. Yes. Let the people of this community say amen.